let you in on what we're planning. The paved and scree terrace at the top will allow plenty of room for entertaining, and the rock garden should be a real talking point. So as you make your way further down, I want the hard surfaces to give way to a softer, more natural feel, where the family can find peace and tranquility. It's going to require a huge amount of planting, and its awkward shape is bound to throw up a few more challenges as we go forward. Wow!
Good afternoon.
This is a transformation. Well done. Fab. Goodness me. The rock bank.
What do you think?
I think it's great.
There is some space in between the rocks for a bit of planting, Alan.
Yeah, quite a bit.
You want some alpines?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll sort that out.
Fab. Oh, I love this stuff. Slate. Oh, lovely. Great mulch. This weather, though, is so untypical of this part of the world. And down the bottom there, where it's going to be really damp and soggy and taking a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Can we find some damp-loving, shade-loving plants for down there?
Yeah, I can do that.
And
Yeah.
I'll get on with the sun-lovers on the rock garden. And just look at this for choice, like a boy in a sweet shop. Oh, it's magic, this. I've always loved alpines. Delicate little plants in miniature, sedum. They're almost like shrubs, aren't they? Shrunk. The sempervivums, the house leeks, with their cobwebs on the top. But you get brilliant colour, too, from Sisyrinchium. All the glory of an herbaceous border, but in miniature. I'm going to take them in and get going. Because alpines are so small and our rock garden is so large, we need a lot of them to make an impact. So we've got over 600 plants waiting to go in, and they'll all need careful positioning.
Can I give you a hand with these, Alan?
Oh, yes, please.
Do you have a colour scheme in mind?
No, not really, because there's all kinds of colours. Here's blue, reds, yellows, oranges. But it's nice to sort of buffer
OK.
one colour from another. Have fun. Sun shining,
thank you.
fresh. Isn't it fab?
It's lovely.
Love it. Rockeries were once the staple of suburban gardens up and down the country, but fell out of favour when decking and minimalist planting took over. I think rock gardens are ripe for a revival, and the key to getting them spot on is to get the planting looking as natural as possible. If you dot them about the place, one here, one there, one over there, you get a really spotty effect, which is not nearly so impactful as putting them all in this, what I call sinuous groups, just snaking their way in and among the rocks. And the effect is much, much better. With the top of the garden beginning to take shape, it's time to turn our thoughts to planting the damp and shady area next to the stream. So Katie's on the hunt for ideas at Pear Tree Cottage in nearby Dalton.
Every garden has its tricky parts, some too wet, too dry or too shady. And it can be really hard to find things that not only survive in those areas but will thrive in them. But I love a challenge.
Damp-loving plants like shade lovers have got a reputation for being green and leafy, with not a lot of colour, but it doesn't have to be that way.
These premiers love it here. They've got their roots in the moisture and their phases in the sunlight, and you can get them in all different colours, so they act like little jewels that pop up throughout the border.
And you can't get more colourful than these magenta-flowered cercium, which prefer damp and fertile ground.
It's a bit more shady in here, and there's this amazing regersea. It's got these lovely feathery-like flowers, which the bees absolutely love. And then at its base, I've got this dicentra, and it's one of my favourite plants. It flowers its socks off for months and months and months, and it's also white, so it'll illuminate the path. Look at this. Now, I think ferns are a bit underrated. They don't flower with big, bright, brash colours, but this has this amazing architectural foliage. I just love it. Damp and shady areas of your garden don't have to be boring. By using lots of foliage types, textures and colour, as well as lots of flower, they can be really beautiful. So I'm confident we can do something really special back at the Pines.
The rock garden is finally laid out, so now the mammoth task of planting it can begin under Francis's direction. Meanwhile, I'm taking delivery of a very special addition to the garden that's been brought round by Alice's uncle, Jeremy. Jeremy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Nice to meet you.
That's a cracker. Lovely.
Yes.
Wedding cake trees, lovely tiers of variegated branches. So, this is for the garden?
It is, yes. I wanted to plant a tree in Alice's memory. OK, Alice may be gone, but her spirit can live through the tree. We can watch it flourish and grow. I just think it's nice.
It's very nice. As a gardener, it's something that I always feel, that plants are continuity. They keep going, you know, when we've gone.
She touched everyone's heart who met her and campaigned tirelessly for charity.
Well, I can tell you, your tree, Cornus controversa variegator, will have pride of place.
Thank you very much.
Katie's back, and she's laden with plants for the damp border next to the stream.
The first plant that I'm going to put in is this Philopendula. And it puts all this growth on in one season, which is quite incredible, really. And I'm going to put them here, and it'll really help screen this fence.
This bed can be seen from the house, so the aim is to make it a colourful and intriguing invitation to explore the bottom of the garden. With Katie planting at one end and a small army slaving away at the other, by rights I should be very happy. But the awkward shape of this garden is still causing me a few problems.
David?
Yep.
This area here, where the garden narrows, it just sort of, whole thing sort of peters out.
You're right.
Can you sort something out for the narrows of the garden, really, that sort of, I don't know, just tie it all together?
I'll leave it with me. I'll sort you out.
I hope you can, because if you can't, we're in a right pickle.
Katie is softening the paved scree area around the house with verbena. But the narrow end of the garden needs a bit of care and attention, so David's come up with a novel solution.
Alan, Francis, I think I've solved the problem of that lower area. Have a look at these.
Good heavens! So what's the idea? Oh, I see.
For a focal point down there.
Yes.
What do you think?
I tell you what, you haven't got another one, have you? Because I think we need three.
I've got another one. Do you want to see it with a tree down
Francis, go and be a tree.
Be a tree?
Be a focal point.
there? You've got to put your hands in the air.
Oh, OK. I can do a tree.
What do you think, then?
Oh,
Have
I've
you got
never
yours
seen a
angled?
tree look so lovely. Yeah, I think you need one more.
Give us a hand, Mark. Well, let's grab another one down.
Can we get a real tree for here now?
Yeah, if you can go further down.
These 2.4-metre diameter hoops are made of pressure-treated laminated timber.
Are you bored now?
Not now, but I will be.
And like a pergola, we can train climbers over them, so they'll blend in with the rest of the garden.
Can you move the middle one out a bit more that way? Go left a bit. Ooh, I'm rather liking that. I'll be a tree, Francis. Do you see what I mean? It's more fun, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice. Ooh,
I'll tell you something.
lovely tree.
That tree needs watering. It's wilting.
But that's great, isn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
And it makes the garden seem so much longer. It's like an
Longer.
optical illusion.
Right. There's only one thing missing.
What's that?
Plants. It needs, down the sides, an awful lot of plants. And you know what that means? An awful lot of planting.
While these flower circles will bring this part of the garden to life, I want to make sure the whole space is right for the pines. In spite of the incredibly tough times they've been through, they've continued Alice's charity work and have already raised hundreds of thousands of pounds.
What do you think is Alice's legacy?
I think the biggest thing is the bone marrow side, really. If you can save someone's life, there's nothing better, is there?
Must make you very proud.
It's lovely, because even though I've lost her, that means all those people may not have had another match, and their match might not have been on the register if not for Alice, so it's nice.
She and Millie were obviously very close.
There was only 2 years between them, so they just grew up as best friends as well. They used to do lots together.
So incredibly tough for her.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from two angles, because as well as watching Alice go through what she went through and losing her, Millie kind of had all the focus on her for the first 8 years.
So Millie's problem is?
Millie has Crouzon syndrome, so she was born with all her skull and facial bones fused together, and she's had surgery since she was a baby. And literally in the space of 6 months, I returned from one huge surgery Millie'd had, and Alice was diagnosed. It was that quick.
How's Millie come through it?
I mean, she's incredibly strong. She was quite quiet for a few months, but she's just focused and determined to go where she wants in life.
You've been through what any parent would dread. How do you cope?
I do think it's a decision that you make yourself. I think you can wake up and put a positive head on and decide you're going to make good of what you've got, or you can wallow in it. You know, these people that walk around just constantly like, oh, life's awful, and it's just such a waste of life. That's a waste of life in itself.
But you must have bad days.
Yeah, I still do, but I just accept them. I don't try to battle them. If we're having a bad day, Millie and I just say, we're having a bad day. We have a little cry, and then the next day's usually better. So. But
you do need a bit of respite yourself. You need a bit of, you know, TLC yourself. You don't. Well, I'll tell you what difference is a garden going to make to you?
Oh my God, it'll be amazing. We love the outdoors, and I think it's really important to go out the back and just have our time. Will be really nice.
It's impossible not to be bowled over by the resilience and determination of this family in the face of the worst thing that any parent can imagine happening to them. But it's a reminder too that this is a garden for two daughters. It must celebrate Alice and be somewhere really special for Millie and her mum and dad.
Now we just need to make sure that the garden does all those things. So Francis is starting with an area dedicated to Alice.
Down here at the end of the garden, I want to create a bed that the family can come to and think about Alice. So I'm using her favourite colour, which was purple. But if you just use everything the same colour, it can be a little bit overpowering. So it's a good idea to use colours that go with that to complement it. So with purples, for example, things like pinks and whites are on a similar area of the spectrum, and they really harmonise nicely together. But I'm going to go for something a little bit more striking, and I'm going to use these Achillea. It's called terracotta, and it's a kind of burnt orangey yellow colour, and it just really brings out the purple. And as well as that, this really bright verbena, which is a really zingy kind of purple, different from the sedum, which is a kind of subdued one, and the alum, which is pastely and muted.
The finishing touch for the rockery, or rock garden, to give it its rather more legitimate name, is this. A good mulching, a top dressing with grit, a grit that matches the stone, and I'm putting it on about ½ an inch thick. It does the usual things that the mulch does. It seals in moisture, stops them drying out quite so much. It prevents weed growth from coming up. But above all with alpines, it stops these tiny little delicate plants from being splashed by mud. And then when you come to water it, it freshens it up even more, and when the rain does fall, it holds that moisture in and lets it go down to the roots where it's needed. And if you take a look, I've almost finished now, at that. What a shame it is that rock gardens are out of fashion. When this has got a little bit more mature, can you think of anything more beautiful? I'm really chuffed with this. Wish it was mine.
While this garden will always be a reminder of Alice, she also created her own legacy. So Katie has gone to meet her sister Millie at the holiday home run by the charity she set up.
Ah, Alice's Escapes. Who gets to come here then?
The families that have seriously ill children.
How lovely, some great respite for all the family. If only you could guarantee the weather for them.
Yeah.
Every time they come, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
And Millie has brought along something very special, an ivy angel.
Well, Alice made it for the garden, and it's really important to me, so I'd love it to be in the garden still.
OK, right, let's start giving it a trim. I've brought my secateurs, luckily enough. There you go. And if we just trim these long bits here, it will encourage it to send out new leaves, and then that should create a nice, dense cover over it. There you go, that's a dead bit that can come off. So what kind of sister was Alice then? She must have been quite creative to have had the patience to do this.
Yeah, she was very creative. She was a really great sister. I miss her a lot.
I bet you do. So what do you think this garden is going to mean to your mum and dad?
I think it'll mean a lot, because it's an escape, I guess. Because it's been so, like, not looked after over the years.
Yeah. And how about you? What do you want?
Just somewhere to hang out with my friends, I guess.
Oh, OK. Hanging out with friends. I'm thinking cap on about that one.
I hope it goes to a special place because it means a lot to
I'm
me.
sure we can find a special place for it, definitely.
Back at the garden, our flower circles are distinctly lacking in, well, flowers. I just hope someone's on the case.
Have a nice chat.
Oh, goodness.
Francis has gone for some supersized rambling roses.
I can't!
Where are we going, Francis?
The one that's not already got a rose by it.
Yes, all right, thank you. Especially subject the obvious. You help somebody out.
Now, these are called seagull, and it has hundreds of white flowers on it when it's in flower. So next year, these will cover the entire archway, one on each side, and just look really, really stunning. It's always a really good idea to add some compost because they're quite hungry plants. I'm just going to dig this into the bottom of the hole.
This seagull rambler can reach a height of around 8 metres after only 5 years. And its flexible stems make it easy to train around the edge of our circle.
Stems on these roses are a little bit bare, so I'm going to add to them with some clematis, which are going to climb up through, wrap around the rose, keep the colour going throughout the whole summer.
As if this wasn't a big enough project already,
Dave, can I borrow you? I need a hand with something.
Sure.
Katie's back and has designs on some unused space on the other side of the stream for Millie.
Me and the cows were thinking
Yeah.
this area needs to be a really cool place for Millie to hang out.
It's a nice idea, I like that.
But at the moment, it's a right tip. It needs sorting out.
It is, muck all over the place.
Yes, so the deck needs cleaning and all that needs sorting out.
Hold on a minute. There's 2 jobs here, gardening and cleaning.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm going to do the gardening and you're going to do the cleaning.
Whoa, hold on a minute. No, I think it's best for you to do the cleaning.
Right, we'll toss a coin then.
All right, let's have it.
Heads or tails?
Tails.
Heads, you lose.
Oh, wait a minute, I haven't seen that coin. Hey, you're cheating.
As the summer sun beats relentlessly down, the hard work continues. But as one job finishes,
Done. Whew.
we seem to be creating even more.
David, what are you doing down here? The garden's here. Here's the bridge across the beck, and what are you doing with this bit here? This wasn't part of the plan.
No, it wasn't, and I've ended up being here doing the cleaning. Katie's had a great idea for Millie, a little area down here, and I've been left on my own to sweep it and clean it up.
It's a wonderful, wonderful idea, but how are you going to be able to do it? We're all busy down here. You'll need help. You better sort it.
Oh, you hear that?
I'm busy.
It's only a short while until the Pine family returns to see their new garden for the first time, and there's still an awful lot to be done.
I suppose it's a bit like scaling Everest, though I've never done that, in that you plod and plod and plod and plod, and when it's nearly there, you're nearly at the top, that must seem the hardest bit, because it always does to me. We just need what you might call the final push.
This garden should be full to bursting with new plants and flowers, but we didn't bargain on an uninvited guest holding up the planting of our special area just for Millie.
There seems to be a cow in the garden.
Look, hiding behind that tree,
Oh?
there's a heifer. Come on, come on.
It won't work.
It's not a dog.
It won't work. Try this. No.
No, that didn't work
You
either.
are joking me.
Unlike these woeful performers, our guest star knows when to make her exit.
Let's keep that well and truly locked.
But I've got problems of my own. Alice's tree is going to be the